Hello and welcome to another fine edition of It's a Sports Show number 102. On the side of me, Dolphin Paul as always. I'm Scott Cray. Thanks for watching today. And Dolphin Paul, it's nice to have you here again.
It's a pleasure to be here in this great time of year for sports.
And we're shooting on Tuesday, the Tuesday after the Patriots' victory. Can you believe, and I didn't realize this till I was looking over my winning fantasy day yesterday, 3 weeks down already. 13 to go.
Isn't it unbelievable?
14 to go if you
3
count the bye
weeks
week.
already gone.
3 weeks. Season's like
It's
approaching 20% over at this point. It didn't take long.
Almost.
You know,
It's
kind of,
unbelievable.
sort of. It's getting there.
It's early.
Well, no, it wouldn't be 20%.
But the baseball season is approaching its end.
Right.
And on that note, we'll start with the Red Sox, who,
We're looking at Monday. Monday's the last day.
once again, when people see the show, it'll be Thursday, so it'll be a
Right.
little drama gone. But as we tape on Tuesday, the Red Sox have won their first game of a two-game doubleheader.
We're right in between the doubleheader
Right in
now.
between a doubleheader, right? And we're sandwiched, and we'd like to be sandwiched, trust me.
You do. I like to eat sandwiches. That was a Dave comment.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know
was a
where
Dave
I came
comment.
up with that.
But the Red Sox won their first of two.
Right.
Tim Wakefield again, who we talked about last week, as
shocking.
being one of the most valuable players.
Absolutely.
Papelbon came in and pitched okay. They got it done in the ninth, and they are now tied with the Yankees as we speak. So by the time people watch the show on Thursday,
There'll be plenty going on by then.
Well-
We'll be entering Friday's game.
hopefully the
first-
Sox will be tied with the Yankees or ahead
Right.
for the big three-game series coming up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to decide the whole kit and caboodle.
How am I supposed to catch Sunday's baseball game? Could mean everything in the world for this season. I'm a churchgoer, man. It's Sunday. I'm supposed
We
to,
gotta
it's a reli-
forego-
It's a holy day.
We got to forego church on Sunday.
Oh boy, you're gonna have a
Forego
light fall on
church
your
on
head
Sunday
before all this is said and
and
done.
watch all the sports.
I'm excited. What are you doing? Are you doing anything Friday? Is this becoming like a like almost a playoff situation where
Oh,
you
absolutely.
make an event out of it, go out somewhere? Or
Especially, I mean, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen the next few games. I mean, the Sox have been on a little bit of a roll since the last time we spoke.
Yep. Well,
last
they're back
week.
at home where they're best.
Well, they're back at home, but they went into Baltimore to beat up on the Orioles, and
Yep.
now they're tied again with the Yankees and Cleveland for a wild card spot, who right now remains 2.5 games behind Chicago.
Right.
So Cleveland, the Red Sox, and Yankees are all tied.
Right.
But obviously, I think the Red Sox have to concentrate on beating the Yankees. I mean,
Right.
that's what they have to do, win the division. That's something they can control. They really can't control what Cleveland's doing.
Now we got what, 6 games? What are we at? 156
It's
now.
about 6 games to go.
So we got 6 games to go as we're talking. We talk about Chicago leading in that division. They're only 2.5 up on Cleveland, who's on a roll. Is there any possibility that we're all worried about Cleveland? It could be Chicago that drops out of it.
Well,
Cleveland takes the division.
I don't think Chicago's going to give up a 2.5 game lead. It could happen.
Right.
Cleveland is certainly on 5, but 2.5 with 6 games to go, that's pretty tough.
It's funny now as we start to see, now we're counting like 6 games to go. We can start to do the math every day.
It's funny at the end of a long season.
Yeah, this all comes to. Well, if Dave were only here now to stick up
Who's
for Major
Dave?
League Baseball.
Who's Dave? We don't
I don't
know
know.
who
He
Dave
told
is.
me that he was coming back on the show. Dave Betancourt coming back, but haven't seen him. Still not here. I was very disturbed that he didn't make the 100th show.
He's off in one of
Very
those
upset.
galaxies like on Star Wars. He's
Got a lot of responsibilities. 2 young kids.
Yeah.
He works like crazy.
Sports is a responsibility. We
True.
have some loyal viewers.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
I know I have.
But
a
it all
couple.
comes down to this big weekend matchup, and I guess that they've announced the pitching matchup. I believe Schillen is pitching the last game versus Randy Johnson.
Ugh.
Wakefield is pitching Saturday,
Yep.
and I believe Wells is pitching Friday, so they pretty much adjusted their pitching staff.
I'll tell you what they're doing there, okay? Boston Red Sox management is looking to take care of those first 2 games and call it quits, hopefully, okay, at that point. And then it becomes the Schilling, RJ, standoff, or whatever you want to call it, that we're supposed to see back in April, but didn't because Schilling was hurt. I'm telling you, man, it's just going to be pleasure for the eyes. That's all it's going to. It's not going to mean anything.
Well, if it's not going to mean anything, why would you pitch Schillen?
Because Schilling's no longer your playoff
I disagree.
series
I think if the
1-4
Red Sox
guy.
win before Sunday, I don't think you're going to see Schillen. Why would you see
Oh,
Schillen?
you won't see him on Sunday at all?
Right.
That's a possibility.
Oh, that's a strong possibility.
But you're going to tell
Why
me...
would you do that?
All right, say we go into the first round of playoffs now. Let's jump ahead a little and hope for the best, okay? We jump into the playoffs. who becomes your 1-4 guy or your one? You know what I mean? How do you work that out? Well, not 1-4 because 3 days rest.
I think it's still Schilling. I
Really?
mean, at least in the top two. The Clement.
Even though he's not as effective as.
Well, as what, Clement?
No.
Maybe Wells.
Wells.
Maybe Wakefield. I don't know.
Definitely Wakefield.
I don't know.
I would throw Wakefield and Wells in there before Schilling.
Well, let's put it this way: if the Red Sox have it wrapped up before Saturday,
Yep.
Or
before Sunday.
maybe you'll see Schilling maybe for a couple innings or something, maybe just a tune-up. But how exciting would it be to have it come down to that last game?
How about?
How great would that be on Sunday, an NFL Sunday, and Schilling versus Johnson?
It'd be
for the AL
It'd be
East.
cool, but not as cool as it would have been, say, in April or last year, because neither guy is anything worth watching to me.
What are you talking about?
Johnson.
It doesn't matter if either guy is
What's
worth
so
watching.
exciting about it?
If the division is on the line, you tell me that you wouldn't be excited?
Oh, I'd be excited about the game, but not necessarily because Schilling versus Randy Johnson is in the
Still
mix.
Schilling versus Johnson. I'd
I'd rather see like Wakefield versus Mussina.
You want to see Wakefield
effective
throw
guys.
62 miles an hour and the game lasts about 6 hours?
I like my odds better.
No,
I like my odds better.
This is the way
if
it should
Schilling
be.
starts the game, you're probably going to see Wakefield anyway
You're
because
nuts.
you're going to need to
You're
pull him out of
nuts.
the bullpen because Schilling goes 4 innings.
No way.
Schilling's line, 4 1/3. You know, wow, what a workhorse.
Doesn't matter.
What a workhorse.
It doesn't matter. That game's a playoff game. If
The
it's for
game is
division.
going to be great. Don't get me wrong. I'd be
Well,
super
listen,
excited.
Schilling or Johnson might have a great pitching performance. You don't know that.
Maybe.
But it all depends on this weekend and then next week's show. Obviously, we'll have some playoff matchups, and we'll know how this whole thing panned out. All we've been talking about for 5 or 6 months will come down to next Tuesday's show, and we'll know. We'll
Maybe
know
Big
the answers.
Papi will steal home on a squeeze play.
He'll
Maybe things
steal
will
home on a
happen.
squeeze play if they hit it to the outfield.
What would you rather see? Would you rather see Sunday's game come down to whoever wins it takes it, the other one goes home for the season, or would you rather see the Red Sox take care of business prior to Sunday, even if that means by the end of Saturday, and Sunday's game mean nothing, and we get ready for the playoffs, and maybe even rearrange things to get ready for the playoffs? What would you rather see as a baseball fan? As a end of
That's
the
a
year,
pretty good question.
An end of the year
You
baseball
know what I'd like to
fan.
see? I'd like to see it all come down to that last game, baby.
Yeah?
I'm a drama queen. I love that.
Yeah, you're a drama
last
queen.
Game.
I don't know about
I'm a drama queen.
Sure are a queen.
Does Drag come into my...
I don't know. I don't
Well,
go out with you on Friday night.
Obviously, we'll have some answers for you next week.
Yes, will Paul be a
matchup.
drama queen?
Will I be a drama queen? Big matchup. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully, the Sox will do it. And,
Maybe we'll
Keith,
see.
How about, we haven't really talked about Keith Folk. He's pretty much shutting it down. A disastrous year for him.
And I heard an interview on Sports Talk Radio this morning. Again, it's Tuesday, and it was GM there, Mr. Genius, Mr. in your 20s, saying, yeah, he'll be back next year. He'll be healthy. He'll be effective. What's your feeling on that? Is the guy all done? Is he?
No, I think
when I say all done, I don't necessarily mean can he physically come back. I mean all done. Like, are we talking young Kim not being able to recover because the fans just shoot him out of town?
Well, I mean, he does have that type of personality.
Big time.
Right. So, I mean, that could be a tricky situation. But I think if he gets a whole offseason rehab, he comes in good shape, I think he could be a pretty good pitcher.
Now, what's he getting? 2 knees done in the off? Is that the deal? He's going back for surgery,
He's
right?
getting back. Well, he said he should have had the surgery earlier, I guess.
Well, didn't
So-
everyone know that?
Well-
Other than apparently the Red Sox management,
Yeah, see,
who
I
needs
have
to
a
learn
problem.
to take a
I'm glad-
proactive role in that.
I'm glad you brought that up because everybody's talking about, well, they shouldn't have brought Schilling back. They should have known. I mean, this is life. You don't really know. You try it.
True.
I mean, everybody's
With
talking about, they should have known that it was too early for Schilling to come back.
Right.
Come on, give me a break. The
The
guy tried to
difference-
come back.
The difference between Schilling and Folk is that Schilling is a veteran. He's been around forever, and the guy is honest and knows himself better than anyone else. He's a very regimented guy. When he says he's ready, yeah, you take his word for it. You think that he's ready. Was he ready? No. Who do you put the blame on? Both, but maybe a little more Schilling, and Schilling has taken the blame in this. Now, a guy like Keith Folk, it's up to management to know. This guy is hurt. He's got issues. How long? Everybody said, oh, Terry Francona's got nothing but loyalty for this guy, and that's why he's in. No, that's not loyalty. That's stupidity. You didn't know that the guy was a little more banged up than you thought he was, and now look, you paid the price. He had no time to recover and come back for the season.
Anybody can say that after the fact. To me, there's no textbook on when exactly you come back.
Right.
Every athlete wants to come back. He thinks he can come back. He's probably going to lie a little bit to come back because he thinks he's ready to go. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I hate to ride the fence on this one, but I don't think you can just say he should have known, he should have known. Hey, try to come back. Obviously, it wasn't a good decision. He's out for the year. Hopefully, the young guys, Papelbon, Hansen, can fill in.
Right.
While you're slurping down your Dunkin' Donuts.
Sorry about that. Farrah, is his mic okay? Because that mic is driving me nuts, man.
What's it doing?
You're pointing it into your... Is his mic all right? All right.
Let me
leave
see.
it alone then. You got to learn
No,
how to
it's
point it
fine.
the right way.
I'm not pointing
It's got to
it
be
right.
on the outside. We don't want to hear your heart thumping for crying out loud.
It's going to get dumped because
Sitting next to me.
this is a tricky time of year.
Unbelievable. All right, now that I got that distraction out, this is how we are on this show, okay? We got mic problems, we take care of business right there. This is no, like, perfect...
I should know after all
ESPN.
these shows how to put my mic. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go.
You a little better now?
Is it a little better now?
That's a little
How's
better.
that, Farrah? Good?
It's about as good as, I guess, an amateur could possibly put it.
Okay, here we go. Oh, it's a little bit crooked.
You've
Hold
got
on.
so many issues this night.
I'm sorry about that. Okay.
Speaking of issues, Johnny Damon looking to be healthy for this stretch run, as the Providence Journal puts it. Now, this is not verified, okay? But here's what I heard this morning on Sports Talk Radio from another source. This is not coming from my mouth. I didn't talk to Johnny Damon. The New York Post, apparently, I didn't get a chance to pick it up because the New York Post sells like hotcakes with these Yankee wannabe fans out here in the Providence, New England area. The New York Post apparently has reported that they spoke to Johnny Damon, and Damon says, hey, the whole contract thing came up, right? Hey, my contract should have been taken care of by now. Now it's too late for a hometown discount. Is this the New York media or maybe even the big man in New York trying to kind of stir things up to add a distraction to this locker room? Or you think, again, this is not coming from my mouth, but from what I've just told you, think that Johnny Damon's kind of burned his bridges at this point and this guy is just not coming back to Boston?
Well, he might not. He had a fantastic year, but this is what happens. And sometimes I take the player's side on this one. Mm-hmm. Management has to ride along a very fine line. Sometimes they want to see what the player does, and the player feels like, well, you don't want to negotiate with me. The player has a fantastic year and now says, hey, now I have the upper hand. If you want me to stay, you got to pay. It is a business.
And the Red Sox,
let's not forget that.
Along with what you just said, the Red Sox, that would make sense because Johnny Damon has been hurt on and off this year.
But he's had a tremendous year.
He has had a tremendous year. Probably would have
And
had a
maybe
better
he
year.
tried to negotiate and they didn't want to do it.
Yep.
A lot of guys, particularly our old friend Pedro, like to get the old respect issue out of the way.
How's he doing?
Well,
Sitting, doing nothing the rest of the year.
still, I mean, that's a whole other story.
But going back again to Damon possibly making those comments, we got 6 games to play here. Shut your damn mouth. You can't be talking about contract issues when you're in the middle of a
sometimes I don't want
playoff
to take his side, and I didn't see the call. Sometimes these guys are baited into that stuff.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't see the
And
call.
it's coming from New York media.
That's coming from New York media. So until that's verified, obviously, if he made that comment now, it's ill-timed. So
Right.
we'll have to see how that plays out.
I saw some interesting things in these MLB standings real quick. I know we're not going to actually go through it. I mean, it looks like LA's got the AL West. The Oakland is pretty much out of it at this point, and I don't know if you saw that coming or not. Did you expect them to be in the playoffs this year?
Well, they made a strong push, but a little bit too late.
I mean, five games out in the wild
That's the
card.
bottom line. It was a little too late.
Right. Too little, too late.
Too little, too late.
Florida, all but out. They've sent A.J. Burnett home, who had an argument with his manager. They sent him home for the season. He's done. That's going to kill
And they benched the Miguel Cabrera, too.
Yep.
Which is good because my Miami Dolphin field, my beloved field, looks like crap, for lack of a better word, with that dirt infield. So send the
You know what,
Marlins
though?
home, put some turf down, and get ready for some football.
You must have been feeling okay because the Marlins would have been on the road for a majority of their playoff games, and they would have been knocked out first round anyway.
No,
So
but
you-
still, that still interferes
little
with...
extra time
still
for
interferes,
your Miami
absolutely.
grass to grow.
We got a
or-
bye next
Or
week.
for some of your players for the Miami
Absolutely.
grass
Not
to
to
be
get
smoked.
hurt. Well, listen, whatever it takes, baby.
Okay, let's move on to some football. What do you say? Did you want to talk
Dun, dun, dun,
anything else?
dun.
We
No,
didn't
we're all
mention
done with
last week
baseball.
about Bonds. Did you care to talk about Bonds at all?
No, not yet.
All right, forget about it then.
I mean, we'll talk about him. He's nearing the home run record of Babe Ruth, which is unbelievable, but
We don't want him to
we'll
beat,
talk to him at a later
don't beat
date.
the white guy's record. You know what they say. All right, so the front page of the Projo today on Tuesday is, I mistakenly said Marvin Harrison. He only wishes as good of a player as he is. Rodney Harrison There he is, in pain, on a stretcher, and good reason. He wasn't
And
faking
the front page of the DP Daily, the Dolphins are 2-1.
Looks like it says 2-7. What kind of hit? What were you accidentally going to put? Oh, you're reading the future. There you go, 2-7. You know that the Dolphins will lose the next 6. Rodney Harrison out for the season. Matt Light, don't know what's going on with him. We probably won't know till Sunday if they finally announce he's out for the season or not. But
well, he's out for at least a few games. He has a broken bone in his leg, so
right.
So Matt Light is out indefinitely. Rodney Harrison, his career could be over. I don't know if you saw it. He damaged his knee. This isn't a strain. This is a torn MCL, ACL, and a PTL, PCL. I don't even know how many parts you got there.
He basically tore his entire
So at his
knee up.
age, that's going to be tough to come back. And you know what? I'll say this. I mean, I don't obviously wish any ill will on anybody. Rodney Harrison's a guy that you hate if he's not on your team, but if he's on your team, you love him because he's always instigating after the play, a little extracurricular activity. But I'll tell you, that's a tough loss for the Pats. He's their leader, defensive leader. I mean, they lost Bruschi, Harrison, Romeo Crennel.
Essentially, it just keeps getting worse. When you look at the overall scenario, take the wins and losses aside, we'll talk about that in a bit, but it just keeps getting worse. The shape of their team
Listen,
is
the Patriots have been on a great run. I don't want to sound like a jealous Dolphin fan here, but they've been on a great run. And ironically, this week in the AFC East, Miami was the only one who stayed healthy, which last year they had all tons of problems with hurricanes, Ricky Williams injuries, and the Jets lost Chad Pennington, Jay Fiedler, and the Buffalo Bills lost to Takeo Spikes, their stud linebacker. So
there's some hurting going on in the East.
I mean, this happens in the NFL, and it can hurt you. I'll tell you what, if the Patriots win the Super Bowl this year, it'll be remarkable.
Well, I mean, I think it would be fairly remarkable with all the changes that were made prior to this year, and then Rodney Harrison gone, and who knows what's left. It would be remarkable for them to make the playoffs, wouldn't it?
Let's talk absolutely. Well, I wouldn't say the playoffs because it's still a Super Bowl team, but let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They're not a Super Bowl team, though. Well, at least they're not the same Super Bowl
team. Well, it doesn't
team.
matter, but they're defending champs, so anything, I mean, you would obviously have to expect them to get into the playoffs. And let's start with the game this weekend.
Yeah.
It went into Pittsburgh, a team that supposedly was playing well, had them at home, had a little revenge on their mind from last year.
Or a little revenge on their mind from quite a few years.
And
Pittsburgh
the Patriots went in there,
well.
and Roethlisberger, there's only 2 losses
against the Patriots.
Are against the Patriots.
Something tells me they ought to bench him when he plays New England.
The Patriots had a lot of adversity for some turnovers.
Yep.
And, they also benefited by 52 extra seconds on the clock, which,
Yeah, this is interesting.
I'm not one to talk about the Patriots' breaks, but
the NFL has said in today's Providence Journal, yes, we did make a mistake, and that 52 seconds were added to one of their drives. We're not talking we're not talking where there was, 58 seconds left on the clock and they gave him an extra 52.
Actually, I'm joking because it was added, but it really didn't have any bearing on the end of the game. What happened was it was a false start, and the clock official put the time back on.
Right.
And nobody really noticed it. The side official is supposed to keep track of that also.
Right.
And apparently it got by everybody. They didn't notice it until the next day.
It
wasn't even during the game.
Well, I mean, how can you say it didn't have an impact? We're talking a field goal kicked with 1 second left on the clock.
Well, I'm saying it didn't have an impact because it was so early.
Right.
I mean,
but you don't know.
Well, the teams would have adjusted if they knew there was 52 seconds left.
More than likely.
I mean, I think the Steelers made some major blunders. Going down the field, hurrying with 2 minutes to go. There's no reason to hurry. You've got Tom Brady on the other sideline. You've got one of the most clutch kickers in the history of the NFL.
Yep.
They left him a minute change.
Yep.
The Patriots go right down the field. They're ready to kick a field goal. And this is what befuddles me. I'm sitting there watching the game. The Steelers call a timeout with about 50 seconds to go.
Yep.
Now the Patriots, I believe it was 24, 25, 26 seconds. They're starting to line up for a field goal. Pittsburgh doesn't call a timeout.
Right.
Why would you not call a timeout there? Give yourself, are you going to win a game in 20 seconds? Probably not. But geez, you get a run back. You get a pass interference. You get a long field goal try.
Right.
Absolutely ridiculous. And Bill Cowher, I generally like him as a coach, but
26
that's a major gaffe.
Is a pretty decent amount of time if you got a field to play with.
You got to assume he's going to make the kick. That's the only thing you can assume because the guy's been clutch.
He's done it.
If he's missed 3 field goals, you say, well, let me let the time run down. Maybe I can.
I still don't think you do at that point.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That was a ridiculous win. Tom Brady in the fourth quarter, 12 for 12.
Yep.
Once again.
Well, you got a young team out there in Pittsburgh too, and you got a young guy at the helm who's still learning the ropes and maybe felt like they need to.
It doesn't matter. They had the Pats at home. they must feel now that they're snake bit by the Pats. It's
Oh,
one of those things
absolutely.
where the Patriots beat the Colts. I mean, Peyton Manning and Roethlisberger must feel like, hey,
What's the deal?
we can't beat these guys even if we get
Right.
home field. So
That's the only team he can't beat.
it's going to be
Outside of
interesting
that,
to
he's
see how
been
the Pats
outstanding.
move on.
Yep, he's been outstanding outside of that. So, anyway, so without Harrison, where do we go from here?
Well, they're going to put in Gus Scott and,
Yep.
and hopefully Belichick. Well, hopefully, I say hopefully, but Belichick will work some magic, and they've been able to replace parts in the past. I just think Rodney Harrison's an emotional leader. He's their tough guy, their enforcer.
It's a little more than
It
just
remains to be
on-field
seen.
performance that he
They already
makes
had
up
some
for.
secondary problems, and now who knows if Troy Brown's going to play cornerback again.
Right.
The Patriots don't have an easy schedule. They got to play San Diego at home. Then I believe they play at
Atlanta,
Atlanta
and then at Denver.
and at Denver. I mean, that's a tough
Then they
little
finally get a
stretch.
break for their bye week, which might help the Matt
In the
Light
middle of the year.
situation. You know, the Matt Light situation, that'll help them out maybe going into at home against Buffalo.
Plus, they
So-
already have a rookie on the offensive line, Logan Mankins,
Right.
their number one draft pick.
Yep.
And they got, I believe, the second-year player, Nick Kazur. So, hey.
It's right what you're saying as far as if they make it to the Super Bowl, it'd be unbelievable. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm having a tough time. You know, we're only 3 weeks into it, but I'm having a tough time gauging what this team is capable of doing in the long run.
Well, it is
especially
early.
when you
I mean,
got a
it is
team like
early.
Miami knocking on the door
Well,
because they haven't been hurt.
I'd love to say that Miami's going to go on a terrific run and win the AFC East. I don't think so. But, you know, Miami's obviously playing much better. They beat a tough Carolina team at home. I think
Yeah.
Nick Saban's doing a great job. I mean, they're going to be in a lot of games. Whether they win at the end or not, Gus Frerott's a better QB than Feely.
They only have one more week without their star Ganja back, right?
Ricky's coming back. They're on a bye week this week.
So they're in a bye week. So is that doesn't
No,
count?
they're in a bye week. They
So
play
week
one game,
5
and then Ricky comes back.
So week 6 he comes
I believe
back.
they play at Tampa, if I'm not mistaken, which is a tough matchup for
So this
Ricky
guy's
Glenn.
suspended. Okay, is that only? Can he practice? Is he practicing?
No, cannot practice at
Nothing
all.
related to the NFL.
Nothing
so
related
whatever
to the NFL.
he's doing on his own time, and it's probably strictly
I believe he
conditioning.
can show up at the facility. They changed that. In years past, you could even show up.
Okay.
But he can't practice. He really can't do anything
He
with
really
the team.
can't even be on the practice field,
No.
probably. So the best thing that he can be doing right now is keeping himself in shape, keeping his conditioning going, but he isn't necessarily getting a playbook and running
Well,
drills.
hey, and he's not in game shape, so it's going to take him a little
Sure,
while.
he's watching film.
But Ronnie Brown, who's the rookie they drafted, the number 2 pick, had a decent game last week, 120 yards, plus yards, and a touchdown.
Not bad against Carolina.
And, you know, it's a long season for Ronnie Brown, so hopefully those two will overlap where Ricky can relieve him.
At some point.
At some point, they'll have a two-headed monster, which, like the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
And Buffalo with J.P. Lossman, they got rid of Bledsoe. J.P. Lossman's terrible. The Jets, I don't know how Miami lost to them. Chad Pennington, Jay Fiedler
Pennington's out. Yep. Fielder's out.
They got Brooks Bollinger. They're going to Baltimore, who haven't won.
Yep.
So that's a hornet's nest. So things are looking up in AFCs. And my Dolphins, we can just chill out next week.
Who's starting for the Jets now? Who takes over?
Brooks Bollinger.
Oh, that's who you were saying.
And they
yeah.
just picked up
Jeez.
today for a nugget, of course, on Thursday. Everybody will know. Vinny Testaverde, who's like
Oh,
89 years old. So he's going to be the backup.
Mr. Jet himself.
Mr. Jet himself. So
Hey, you know, I'll ask you again. I already asked you this back in the preseason, and guarantee I'll ask you like in the middle of the
ask
season.
away, my friend.
Okay. Ricky comes back, right?
Yes.
Plays well. Plays great, maybe. Miami going to hold on to this guy? Or are they just going to play him for 12 weeks to build him up?
I think it all
and
depends.
get something for
I
him?
think by the end of the year, you'll have a good idea what Ronnie Brown's about. And even though Nick Saban
I think
won't
it's gonna
say it.
yeah, but are
Well,
you
he's the
gonna?
number 2 pick in the draft.
If he doesn't get to play,
They're both going to play. I don't think
Yeah.
it's going to be strictly a one-guy situation. Ricky had a great preseason.
right.
He made a lot of good runs. He looked quick. So I think he's still a better back. Ronnie Brown's kind of a pounder. You know, Cadillac Williams, who's the other back from Auburn,
Right.
is having a terrific
Yeah, he
season
is.
so far. So,
His name's been
you
mentioned.
know, I think
over
it's
and
going to be
over
up
again.
to Nick Saban to see what's going on. And I think if Ricky is a good person, if he stays under the radar the whole year, hey, they might keep him. But why not? He's already there.
He was under the radar prior to his stint of
Next
leaving
year, by
on
the way, I know this show isn't about Miami, even though I'm a Dolphin fan, but Miami well under the cap next year, like $15 million, so they could do
have
some
money to
damage the
play
next
with.
year.
I'm just curious from a Miami standpoint, a Miami fan standpoint, if you're still bitter about the whole thing. I know if it were me, I think I still would be, and I could hope for the guy to have a decent season so that you can get some money for him and get rid of him as opposed to
that might happen. I just hope he has a good season. It'll benefit us.
to help Miami.
And
right?
hey, if somebody really wants him in the offseason, it can help us during the
Somebody's
draft.
got to want him.
Well, but don't forget, I mean, Ronnie Brown's got to fill in. I mean, you don't want to give away a guy like Ricky, and then the Ronnie Brown turned out to be a bust.
Right.
I think he's going to be pretty good, but number 2 pick.
You got to make sure
You
that
better
he's
be damn
decent.
good.
And you're right, you have to play him.
Absolutely.
Where do we stand, Farrah?
About 4 minutes.
4 minutes?
About 4 minutes. Let's get to some other games in the NFL. Your
Let's hear
Cincinnati
it.
Bengals,
Yes.
3-0.
Oh, baby. I am so going to put some money
Your
in
Cincinnati
Vegas.
Bengals. Your San Francisco 49ers.
Well, it's my
I mean, the other
Niners,
teams you need.
But the Bengals, man. Are they unbelievable? Are you believing yet, is what I'm asking.
Hey.
You. Are you believing yet?
Listen, I said the Bengals were pretty solid. Marvin Lewis, they got a very young defense. Odell Thurman from Georgia.
Yep.
Terrific linebacker. They got some young guys on defense.
How far did I say they'd go?
I think you said they're going to go 102-0 in the next 3 years.
I could not have possibly have said that.
But Carson
We gotta
Palmer,
look
they got
back.
the big three. Carson Palmer, Rudy Johnson,
Yep.
Chad Johnson,
Yep.
TJ Houshmandzadeh.
Who was ineffective last
And Carson
week, but-
Palmer, he's finally coming into his own, unlike David Carr and
Right.
Joey Harrington
That's
out
what
in Detroit.
That's exactly what I said. He showed signs last year. Man, I should have put money in Vegas on the Cincinnati Bengals. It's too late now. I'm good.
Indianapolis Colts 3-0.
I'm good. Yeah, no surprise there.
But how they're doing it is a surprise. I mean, Peyton
defense.
Manning, 1 touchdown.
Right. Well, yeah, how's that
We would have
feel?
never said that they were 3-0.
How's that feel, having Peyton Manning in your fantasy team?
Number 3 pick, I draft Peyton Manning. He's got 1 touchdown.
You were lucky to get him in number 3.
They're playing some defense and they're winning
The defense is the
low-scoring
key.
games.
The
But
defense is the key because the problem was they had Manning on the field for too long, too often, and now they're letting him have some rest. And you're right, you're not seeing it in his numbers, but maybe he's controlling that offense just a little better.
they've
now.
given up 16 points in 3 games. The old Indianapolis,
That's
the
good.
defense, would give that up in a quarter.
How many
so
points have they scored? What are their points for?
They've only scored 47, but I think it's been more by design. I don't think they've been winging it all over the field.
So they're like an old Carolina team where you're not meant to.
I don't know how
blow
long
your
that's
opponent.
going to last. I mean, obviously with Peyton Manning, I think you open it up. I mean, elsewhere, Pittsburgh, of course, lost. Baltimore's having lots of problems.
Who's our undefeateds? Anybody get eliminated? I think we had 3 teams last
No,
week.
Tampa Bay. Well, Kansas City lost last night.
Right.
Monday Night Football, they were 2-0. They lost that to Denver. They got thumped 30-10.
Man, what's his name is killing me. The QB for Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay 3-0. He went into. They went into. I'm sorry. They played Buffalo at home. Had a
Right.
little brain cramp there. Played Buffalo at home. They beat them. Cadillac Williams, another good day. They're 3-0.
So it's still Tampa Bay. Oh no, now it's only down to Tampa Bay and Cincinnati?
Well, it's Tampa Bay. Washington is 2-0. Don't forget,
All right.
some
They already
teams
have
had a bye.
week? Jeez.
And Cincinnati.
So 4 teams. 3 teams.
3 teams undefeated.
Oh, I'm telling
That's
you. Bengals, baby. Super Bowl bound. Because you know what's going to happen with the Colts. They got to face the Pats at some point, and that's not going to happen.
Cincinnati's a dangerous team. It remains to be
Cincinnati.
seen.
I got to look it up. We got to look it up, Farrah, and find out what I predicted for Cincinnati. If it was a Super Bowl or just division win.
How about the Raiders 0-3?
Yep.
The Cardinals 0-3. 2 teams we thought might take a step up.
Suck. Anyway.
So it's a big weekend. We got San Diego at New England and
big
Red Sox
question.
Yankees.
Red Sox, not David Wells, Randy Johnson versus Kurt Schilling, the big game 3. Okay, so that happens. The game's on the line. I love scenarios. Do you watch that or the Patriots?
Well, I would watch the Red Sox. I'm not a Patriot fan, but it's a perfect day to click back and forth because, as you know, baseball
way.
games that take a long time.
I want to watch every commercial during that Red Sox game.
I'm sure
I'm
you
not
do.
budging Sunday, if it matters. Actually, I'm not budging. I'm more excited about Friday right now. I want to see that first game.
Great
You know
time
why?
of year.
I want to see, I'm anxious for Friday because I want to see what the scenario is by then.
You
How
love
many
scenarios.
games do we have to win?
You love scenarios.
Do we have to
You've
win
made
2
that
out of
clear.
3? Do we have to win all 3? What happens if they tie now?
They go play Monday in New York.
Really? There's a
Absolutely.
tiebreaker in that?
Absolutely.
That's the first step, is that they play. There isn't even any kind of
No.
whatever they've done against each other for the season.
No, this isn't football.
Oh, that would
Monday in New
stink.
York if there's a tie.
That would stink. I don't want to see that.
So It all depends on.
Maybe if that ends up in a tie, right? Maybe they'll do Schillen versus RJ Part 2 the next day. Ridiculous. It's a sports show at yahoo.com. Maybe some of you are more enthusiastic about the RJ versus KSCS. And the Dolphins,
2-1.
2-7, as you can see. Email us anytime. It's a sports show at yahoo.com.